right, this fly is called a poor man's whistler. It's based on the original pattern by Dan Blanton, the whistler. The reason these flies are called whistlers is because they have bead chain eyes and they tend to make a whistling sound when you cast. Anyway, a good friend of mine, Chip Cromarty, he's up in northern Saskatchewan at Cree River Lodge, used to be at Wollaston. He developed this fly as a pike fly, and again, it's a modification of a Dan Blanton pattern. This is just a very simple way to do it. Gets rid of a few ingredients and very, very effective. Anyway, this is a Ahrex. This is a Beast Fleye hook, 4/0, a nice, big, sturdy hook. Great for pike. And for thread, I'm using UTC. This is 280, a red thread. Nice and strong. I mean, you could use gel spun if you like something really, really strong. I like the grip of this stuff a little bit better than gel spun. Anyway, I'm going to get the thread started on the hook shank and wrap about halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way back to that hook point before I go to tie in my first material. These are called Slinky Fibers. It's a very synthetic fiber, and they've been around for quite a while. Very plasticky, kinky, but super, super durable. I'm just going to pull off a small amount here from the hank and snip it free. I like the way Chip laid this fly out. It's kind of genius in how it conserves materials. It's easy to tie, and really neat tying method. Anyway, you want to grip this clump about 1/3 of the way down, and that's going to go right at the tie-in point. So it extends back about that far, maybe a full hook length back. And this is slippery material tied on a slippery hook shank. So I'll take a few wraps around just the hook shank, but it badly wants to spin. To prevent that from happening, I'm going to jam just a couple wraps right in front and then a couple more over top. This won't stop it from spinning around the hook shank, but it does help. So I'm going to leave it just like that. Next material to get tied in is gold Flashabou. We like a lot of flash for these, so I've got about 8 strands here, and we're going to double that. We're going to double that over. So 16, 20 strands all together. I'm going to find the midpoint of these strands and fold that midpoint around my tying thread. Get them kind of evened up, doesn't really matter here. Get that on top of the hook shank, and then I'm going to take a few wraps rearward just to pin that down. You can see it extends beyond that yellow body. Now, although Chip doesn't do this when he ties the fly, I do like in almost every step to add a little super glue. Just pike can really tear up flies, and I want it to be as durable as it possibly can be. Now, here's one of the neat little tricks that he does with this fly. We're going to fold this material back so it's the same length as the lower clump. Just fold it over and take a few wraps to hold it down. Again, really conserving materials and making everything nice and sturdy. Another ample drop of super glue and a few wraps there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this front loop and just snip it like that. You can use any kind of tube that you have. I actually use the oh, that one's not going to work. That eye's a little too big. We can just brush it back. Anyway, you can use a tube or whatever it is to help you push that material back. And what that does is it just covers up those thread wraps, and it also, this little bit right here is important in that it keeps the fly from fouling in the hook bend. This longer fibers, this kind of keeps it pushed back and out of the way. Really works well at that. And I'm going to put just a little bit more super glue on there. And super glue sets under pressure, so a few wraps is just going to set that adhesive. And then I'm going to get my thread forward right there in front of that clump. Next material to get tied in, this is Steve Farrar's fibers. Don't need a whole lot of it. It's got a little bit of flash in there. Really nice stuff. A lot of movement. Little finer fiber than the Slinky Fiber. And again, just to maximize materials here, I'm going to snip that clump in half, put it together, and then snip those in half, join them together, give them just a little shuffle in my fingertips to align the fibers, or misalign the fibers. Looks a little more natural that way. I'm going to find about the midpoint. Get them tied in there. And kind of the same deal. I'm going to push these lower fibers back and down a little bit so they cover the underside. Get them pinned back. Probably the hardest part here is getting up on that little cliff. Getting some good wraps around there. And then I'm definitely going to add ample drop of super glue right there. Again, use that thread pressure to help set that super glue, make sure everything is locked down really, really well. If you have any kind of wonky fibers here, now's a good time to snip them out, get them out of the way. Looking pretty good. With the bead chain eyes, I like to get the bead chain eyes right up, if I can, right up against that little cliff. I'm gonna pull them back like that. And you know, everybody has their own routine with putting in bead chain eyes, whether it's on a fly like this or you know, the eyes for a clouser minnow. My sequence is I do a bunch of cross wraps like that, and then I do what I call yoke wraps, where I go over top on one side, then over top on this side, kind of like a mini tug of war, back and forth. Do that a few times, and then make sure that they're all squared up right where I like them. And then I do these circular flat wraps right around the base, and that pulls all the previous wraps in nice and tight, supposedly. Really gets that gripped on there. Then I'm just going to kind of fill in with more cross wraps across here. Get that little space back in there somewhat filled up. Get that lump covered up. This one does use a lot of tying thread. Even heavy thread like this, it takes a while to build up. Just want to get everything covered up reasonably well. You come underneath, do a little finishing work out here behind the hook eye. Maybe a few more cross wraps. That's looking pretty good. Nice kind of tapered head on this fly. Looks good. Just going to grab my whip finish tool. A little back to front whip finish. Seat that knot really, really well. You can either snip or cut your tying thread free like that. Again, this is a pike fly, so you want this to be as durable as it possibly can be. And I am going to use just head cement here, but if you want to, UV cure resin or even 5-minute epoxy or 2-ton epoxy is they're real great choices for this, just to build up a nice big head on the fly that's super durable. You know, the materials on this are all but indestructible, which is very nice for pike flies. So you can catch, you know, more than one pike with them. But this nice big hook, very durable. Pike can take a light wire hook and just bend it all over the place. Lots of flash, good amount of movement, really attractive to pike, fun to fish. Not too heavy, a lot of movement, works great.